They installed spike strips around my car because I grew cucumbers in my driveway, but I uncovered the one legal loophole the HOA president never saw coming. What would you do if your neighbors tried to cage you for growing your food? Comment below where you're watching from. The police officer gaped at the jagged metal spikes encircling my sedan, his jaw tight. They did this over vegetables? He asked, rubbing his temple. Cucumbers, officer. It started with cucumbers, I replied, gesturing to the tidy planters lining my driveway. I never imagined growing food would turn me into a prisoner in my own home. It all began 3 months ago when I lost my bookkeeping job. The layoff notice arrived on a Monday, with a paycheck that wouldn't cover my mortgage. That night, staring at a $180 grocery bill while eating a $6 cucumber salad, inspiration struck. The next day, I hauled planters, soil, and seedlings from Lowe's. My driveway got 8 hours of perfect sunlight, wasted space I could transform into a food garden. Within days, I had rows of cucumbers, bell peppers, and basil thriving. My first harvest saved me $50 compared to store prices. I felt invincible watching those tiny green cukes swell daily. Neighbors even stopped by, curious. Old Mr. Lopez next door gifted me trellises he wasn't using. Then came the camera flashes. Karen Mitchell, from across the street, stood on her pristine lawn, snapping photos of my garden. Her red curls bounced as she worked. Nice day, huh? I called, waving. Karen's smile was icy. Just noting concerns for the HOA meeting, she said, striding off in her yoga gear. That night, an email from Robert Hayes, president of Pine Grove Estates HOA, landed in my inbox. Your driveway setup violates Code 12.4. Remedy within 7 days. I scoured the HOA handbook, 48 pages, no mention of banning container gardens. Code 12.4 only required driveways to stay clear of clutter. These were living plants, not junk. The next morning, a note was taped to my mailbox. Gardens belong in backyards, not on display. Concerned neighbor. The cursive matched Karen's holiday card. Later, I caught her and Robert whispering in the corner, pointing at my house. 3 days later, a letter arrived, labeling my farming a threat to the neighborhood's residential character, and threatening $150 daily fines. My savings were already thin. That night, I pored over county laws until 3 a.m., finding that container gardening was explicitly allowed in residential zones. I also photographed every HOA violation I could find: Christmas lights up in May, unapproved gnomes, basketball hoops, all ignored except my garden. I drafted a polite but firm response to Robert, citing county rules and selective enforcement. Before sending it, I visited Mr. Lopez. Karen's gunning for the Beautification Award, he said over coffee. Your garden's in her view, and she's furious. Robert's her puppet, her husband golfs with him. I sent my letter with legal citations. Silence followed for 2 days. Then, Saturday morning, Robert and Karen appeared at my door. We've scheduled a hearing, Robert said, avoiding my eyes. This isn't personal, Karen added, her smile venomous, phone subtly recording. It's about standards. I stayed calm. Nothing bans container gardens, Robert snapped. The board interprets the rules. The hearing was set for Tuesday. That afternoon, 5 neighbors got violation notices for minor issues: wind chimes, a birdhouse, all people who'd praised my garden. Someone was retaliating. I dug deeper, finding the county's grow your own law protecting home food production. Then disaster struck. While I was at the store for an hour, my security camera caught Karen's daughter, Emily, and 2 teens toppling my planters. Dirt and snapped cucumbers littered the driveway. Emily's voice rang clear. Mom said these gotta go. I was still cleaning when Officer Daniels arrived, responding to a complaint about illegal farming. I showed him the footage. That's vandalism, he said. Press charges? I hesitated. Escalation could worsen things, but asked him to document it. I confronted Karen, showing her the video. Her face reddened. "Those plants are a blight," she spat. "They attract bugs and tank property values." My planters were spotless, pest-free. "Check your mail," she sneered. A certified letter gave me 72 hours to clear my garden or face fines. The next day, neighbors showed up with their sudden violations: a flagpole, a flower bed, all ignored for years. "Robert's been fining people over nonsense forever," said Mike, whose mom was fined $300 for a wrong color porch rail. That night, 10 neighbors met at my house, sharing stories of Robert and Karen's favoritism. Karen's gazebo got a variance. Robert's oversized deck was excused. We planned to confront the board together. The next morning, a landscaping crew arrived with an HOA work order to remove unauthorized plants. I sent them packing, citing private property rights. Hours later, Robert emailed, "Your refusal forces us to take all measures." That afternoon, Karen led a group past my house, pointing at my garden like it was a crime scene. Another cease and desist arrived, threatening lawsuits. I called the county housing office. A clerk, David, suggested checking for agricultural heritage clauses and old covenants. At the county records office, I found Gold, Pine Grove's 1993 covenant, tied to the County Agricultural Heritage Act, guaranteed residents' rights to grow food, untouchable by HOAs. I snapped photos, heart racing. Returning home, I found my new planters doused with bleach, plants dying. Karen drove by, smirking. But the real shock came the next morning. Over breakfast, I heard scraping outside. 2 workers in Pine Grove vests were installing spike strips around my driveway, tires shredding metal teeth. "Stop!" I shouted, filming. "HOA orders," one muttered. I called the police. Officer Rivera arrived, frowning. "This is a civil matter," he said. "They can mark violations. They've trapped my car." I pointed at the spikes. He admitted it was extreme, but urged me to call Robert. Furious, I marched toward Robert's house. Karen intercepted me, filming. "Well, Farmer Smith," she taunted, "those spikes must sting." "This is illegal," I yelled. "You can't trap me." She waved papers. "Your garden violates 3 codes and hurts our home values." "My brother's a realtor. Offers are dropping." I knew the market was hot. My garden was immaculate. Robert joined her. 7 homeowners complained. "Remove the plants, we remove the spikes." I couldn't drive to my doctor's appointment or pick up my dad from therapy. Desperate, I borrowed a neighbor's car and hit the records office again. Late that night, buried in dusty files, I confirmed the heritage clause was ironclad. I smiled for the first time all day. The next morning, I met Lisa Carter, a top property lawyer. She laughed while reading my documents. "In 20 years, I've never seen an HOA screw up this badly. Your land's protected by the 1997 Heritage Act. Those spikes? That's unlawful detention, may be criminal. We filed an emergency injunction. I posted a photo of the spikes online. Is this how HOAs handle garden disputes?" It went viral. By noon, news vans arrived. As I spoke to Channel 5, Karen and Robert stormed over. "Turn those cameras off!" Robert bellowed. The reporter pounced. "Did you authorize tire-destroying spikes?" Karen pointed at my planters. "That eyesore's ruining our neighborhood." I stayed cool. "These feed my family. Nothing bans them." That night, my camera caught Karen's husband, Greg, slashing my irrigation lines at 2 a.m. Officer Rivera arrested him on the spot. Karen, in a bathrobe, claimed he was checking for pests. The footage buried her. At 9 a.m., the courtroom buzzed. Judge Harper entered, stone-faced. My 25 neighbors packed the benches. She displayed my spike strip photos. Gasps filled the room. "Mr. Hayes, did you authorize these?" she demanded. Robert stammered. Karen blurted, She ignored warnings. The judge silenced her. Lisa presented the heritage clause. Robert's lawyer argued, modern standards. But Judge Harper wasn't having it. This covenant is airtight. Food growing is protected. Greg's vandalism footage sealed it. After 45 minutes, the ruling came. The HOA's actions are unlawful detainment, harassment, and a violation of protected rights. Spike strips are vigilante nonsense. The court ordered their immediate removal, $175,000 in damages, legal fee coverage, and new HOA elections within 30 days. Karen and Robert were warned against further harassment. Outside, Lisa grinned. This sets a precedent statewide. That afternoon, neighbors cheered as workers removed the spikes. Mike gave me a hand-painted planter. Rachel unveiled a sign, Pine Grove Gardens, growing together. They petitioned for a community garden on unused HOA land, protected by the same clause. Robert quit the board and listed his house. Karen avoids me now. Greg built garden beds for his community service. My case sparked 3 nearby HOAs to start gardens and inspired the state's Food Freedom Act. This morning, harvesting my last cucumbers, I saw faint spike marks on the concrete, a reminder that fighting for what's right can reshape a community. It all started because Karen couldn't stand my little garden and forgot to check the law. As my grandma said, before you uproot someone's plants, know whose ground you're on. What do you think? Was Karen's vendetta just petty, or did she have a point about neighborhood standards? Share your thoughts below. Let's debate HOA power and gardening rights. Your comments boost this story's reach, so tell us where you're watching from.